Shine Canvas. Good evening and welcome to our live. Hey, so do you ever wonder what's going on with your hardship and the reason that your hardship is lasting so long and when is it going to end and why is it pulling you down so much and how will things ever be different? You ever think about that? Well, I think a lot of times what happens with our hardship and the reason that we stay in is because that continues to be our look, right? And so I want to talk about that a little bit. When things happen that are difficult in your life, the automatic response is to go with the emotion of the moment. So let's say that for some reason in life, something difficult gets taken away from you or something difficult happens in life. Whatever comes out of that emotionally, we seem to just kind of follow that scenario, and it's really hard for us to zoom out. And so that initially, by the way, is a really natural response. But the challenge that it puts in your life is that you can stay in that moment for way too long. And there's a perspective that I want you to take, which is that your hardship is your gift, right? And so that's one of the hardest things to even think about, even to say. And in a lot of cases, you will doubt that that even makes sense for you. And if you think about it, like what's happening is we're taking our hardship, whatever's going on in our life, and that has become our life. So that's a thing that to me, I want everybody to be out of. I want everybody to be able to get away from. Can you get away from this idea that says, I'm going to stay inside of whatever things are happening? Well, you can. And the truth of the matter is that where we focus determines what our experiences will be, right? So, your focus, if you can change that focus to, man, my hardship is my gift, or what is my hardship giving me, right? What is it giving me besides a heartache or a headache or an emotional ache? What is it giving me? Then everything gets to shift for you. And so, when you're in these moments, just because these things are, and this is a saying that I've been using and I feel like feels really useful and good to me, which is just because something is happening to us doesn't mean that it's not for us. And so it's up to us to find what the for us is. Like, what's the thing that I'm supposed to be getting out of this? Right? I meet with couples, and sometimes in couple scenarios, there's infidelity in their relationship or other hard things inside of their relationship. And when they want to continue with their relationship, if they stare and focus on what happened in the infidelity, what do you think grows in that scenario? Well, what grows in that scenario is we continue to build all the things that made the hardship up. But what if they focused on, or we turned it into like that hardship is going to give us the ability to be stronger as a couple. It's going to give us an opportunity to look at what it is that we are doing in our lives as individuals and what more we can be doing in our lives together in our relationship. That just turned into the thing that is devastating, just turned into something that gives you opportunity to do more in your life now. We may not like the way that things go, but again, you're left with only one. Well, you're not left with one choice, you're left with two choices. One is to allow that thing that has happened in our lives to really pull us down and keep dragging us through daily hardship, or two, allow that thing that has happened to us that's dragging us to make us more focused on being in a different place in our minds and in a different place in our bodies and in a different place in our relationships, right? So there's some real cool opportunity there for us to be able to do that. So that's not easy. So let's just talk about a couple of steps. The first thing is I don't want to jump to this. Like I don't think that if something hard happens that automatically you need to say, boom, okay, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to make sure that I know this is my gift. Now, I think that there comes a time in life, if you can get to that peace point in your body before the hardships happen, where your bounce back might be a little bit quicker than others. But for the most part, that might not be the case. So take your time. That's the first part. Take your time to go through the grief, and usually it's whatever has gone on. There's some opportunity for grief in that scenario, or to feel whatever the moment is. Allow that to happen. The second thing is, and I always talk about partnership, but it's a good idea to partner up with somebody that will allow you to um, will be a guide for you to be able to move through what's going on, right? So in that process, the what's going on needs to say, okay, well, let me help me to sort out what are all of the opportunities here for me. If Thomas said there's some opportunities here for me, or there's a gift in my hardship, then what is the gift? Tell me what the gift is, right? And so at that moment, and so if we find that person at that moment, our minds have to open up, because especially when things happen that are hard, we only can see just one side of that scenario, right? And that's part of what the pain is, because we can only see the one side of that scenario, which that side's not false, it's true. But there's just other things that we'll have to look at in order to come out of it. And so we're looking at trying to open our minds a little bit more to try to realize, okay, let me figure out how this scenario turns into my gift, no matter how difficult it is, right? And so then after you're able to sort out, let's pick out two or three things that you could say, like, I know this, if I'm to if I could just get better at this scenario, then that will grow me in some situation. And you grind, and that's where you again grab onto another partner and be able to say, look, let me help me to grind through this scenario, help me to know more about how to grow in this area of my life, right? So let's go back to that example, because that way, um, whenever I'm talking to you guys about this, you could maybe apply it. So we talked about the infidelity scenario in relationship, and then what does it look like if I'm actually able to find out, okay, look, I can open my mind in this scenario, and I can say, look, there's some opportunities that we were missing in our relationship to be closer. There's some mindsets that we had, some thought processes that we had that were dangerous for us, that led us to that position to begin with. There's some love that we weren't doing. There's some respect that we weren't doing that led us to that scenario. Okay, now that I know that, what's my growth opportunity there? Well, here's the practices that I need to put in place. I need to make sure that I stay proactive and prioritize my relationship. I need to make sure that I have the right kind of company and interaction around me. I need to make sure that my messages and my focus to myself and to my partner are on point, right? So it gives you a real opportunity to be able to start shaping it over again. And so as you're doing that, as you're able to do that, you get in that groove, and that groove takes you to where you want to be. And now, if you look back, you see that the thing that was the most painful, in this case, we're talking about the infidelity, but we really could use a lot of different scenarios. But you see the thing that was the most painful and the most hurtful thing to our relationship, even now, has given us an opportunity to grow closer and be in a different scenario. Now, this is not, I mean, your mindset really matters here, because this is not an encouragement for infidelity, right? Obviously. But what it is being able to say, look, whatever our hardship was, whatever our hardship is, we can get through it if we're willing to look at a different side of it and grow from those things, right? And so once you're able to change things around like that in life, everything matters different. And so what will happen is, okay, so that scenario, you were able to get through it, you're able to grow stronger, but you start having more of a peace point, because you start having this focus about how life works, which is all these things in life that are happening to us that we're really stumbling over and constantly worried about. All those things that are happening are not permanent things. They're all temporary, and they're all opportunities for us to get better, even if in the moment it doesn't feel like it makes sense to us. It doesn't need to make sense to you. It's just only up to you to be strong enough to find what is the thing that I need to be working on, and not allow that situation to become who you are. right? And so to me, that's the key is we these situations or these hardships, we're allowing that to become who we are. And it's not. It's not who we are. Instead, who we are is a person who's going to decide on the resilience factor and get to a different place in our life and really change things over for the better for ourselves. So I use the infidelity concept as a example because I know that's a hard scenario. But there are tons of hard scenarios, and I'm willing to have more conversations about different hard scenarios that may come up in your life. And I think the same way for all situations, right? And you might say, and this is the thing that's going to stop you from getting to a place where your hardship is not doesn't become a gift or does not or your hardship crushes you, right? This is what will stop you. You're going to say, in my hardship, there is no gift in it, right? If you say that, then it's all gone, right? And then the suffering happens, and so the suffering kind of tells us like what's going on because um, the suffering is a representation of what's not true, right? The truth ends up in us, not that we don't have hardship, but the truth ends up in us being able to be resilient and push through and get through. Okay. So there's so much in there for you. I want you to change your hardship into a gift. Find what it is that needs to be worked on, how you get better because of the challenge that you're facing. Um, and continue to push through all the difficult times that you have. If you need help with doing this, you know how to find me. I'm on the shinecampus.com, and we'll talk to you guys soon.